What's up, party people? My name is Tara. Some people call me Mama Sage. Today, we're going to talk about what I mean whenever I say that I want to teach people how to live life beyond. So, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I work with women in all forms of recovery, primarily drugs and alcohol. And the purpose of my videos, my YouTube channel, is to kind of offer some information to people who have a loved one or multiple loved ones who are struggling with drugs and alcohol, and also to offer hope for other people who are just like I was a few years ago, just completely lost and have no idea, how to change, how to make things different, and who don't have any hope that it's a possibility to change. So, if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. And thank you for all the support that you guys have shown me. It's been a really amazing journey starting up this YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please click subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell if you'd also like to receive notifications about my video updates. And yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah.
What do I mean whenever I say live life beyond? Well, let me tell you. Whenever I was a kid, I just wanted to be happy. I wanted to be an architect like Frank Lloyd Wright. I wanted to be an Egyptologist. I had a lot of different dreams, but the number one dream that I had was just to be a wife and mom. So I felt like that was my purpose. Now, with that being said, there were also so many other things that I wanted to do. I wanted to travel, and I wanted to go to big concerts like major music stars, and I wanted to be able to take my kids on vacations. I wanted to move somewhere outside of Ohio. There were all these different things that I wanted to try, and I got to a point in my life where I felt like none of that stuff was ever going to happen. If you read my book that's going to be coming out soon, Live Life Beyond, it talks about how I had this moment where something shifted inside of me and I just kind of gave up. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to be anything other than just, a blue collar kind of gal. Like I'll never be able to travel. I'll probably live in Ohio my whole life. I didn't think that I would ever go to college. I certainly didn't think that I would own my own business. Basically, I spent the next 15 years, 20 years drinking and using drugs and just like trying to escape from what I felt was a pretty miserable existence. And that's not to downplay it. I mean, legitimately, there were points in my life where I was absolutely miserable. That had to do with, the drinking and the drugs, and it had to do with just like my personal life choices, relationships that I stayed in far too long. But the bottom line is, whenever I got sober, I was able to find the way out. And so that's what I try to do whenever I'm working with other women, is I try to share with them how they can move out of that space where they just feel hopeless and like they're never going to be anything. They're never going to go anywhere. Whenever I first got sober, I was 29. So I've been sober for 5 years now. Actually, I'll be sober 5 years in like a week. So when I first got sober, I was just trying to not drink again. I was just trying to not call the dope boy. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to meetings. I wanted to come home and take care of my kids. And beyond that, I didn't really have a whole lot of aspirations. As I learned who I was again as a woman in sobriety, I learned that I had all these dreams that I had given up. I absolutely lost myself. And so it was time to figure out, like, what do I want to do? So I wrote a bucket list. These are the things that I want to do, and these are the places that I want to go, and these are the, things that I want to experience. And then I started to put check marks down the list. So the first thing that I did was I met the man of my dreams. And I met Jeremy at a sobriety camp out in Ohio. And I know a few other friends that met partners there too. It's a really cool spot, and it's really, really beautiful. So whenever I met him, I found this partner who had the same kind of drive and the same kind of ambition that I have. And we made plans to just start enjoying life together. Right about that time, I started going to college, and I was so excited to be trying something, to be going back to school after so long. Let's see, I had been out of school at that time for about 10 years. It was nerve-wracking, I think. And I had a full-time college schedule, and I was also working full-time, and I was a single mom. So the point of all of that was essentially that I just wanted to show my kids that they could do anything that they wanted without having to let anything hold them back, that they didn't have to let anything stand in the way of their happiness. And anything is possible whenever you put in the effort and whenever you're willing to believe in yourself. So I'm in college and I meet Jeremy, and we get together and we decide that we're going to get married. We got married after about 3.5 months, but we've been married for almost 4 years now, and our marriage has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, of course, like, we've gone through ups and downs like all marriages, but the thing is, we know what we want, and we're committed to getting there together. And we can both see the positives that the other person brings to the relationship, brings to the marriage. And so I can't imagine spending my life with anyone else. He understands me as a sober man. He understands me as a sober woman more than I think anybody else in my life does. My husband just gets me. So the first thing that we did that was like really, really big was we decided to take a trip to Arizona to see his mom. So whenever we came out, it was the first time that I had been on an airplane since I was a baby. Like, I don't even remember the first time that I got on an airplane. And whenever we flew out here, it was huge because we got to bring all 3 of our kids, and we all came out for a week. And the long and the short of it is, we were presented all these opportunities while we were out here. And so after a 8-day vacation, we flew back home to Ohio and packed all of our stuff up. And within 17 days, we were moving out to Arizona. So a girl who hadn't even flown in the last 28 years, 29 years, has not only like flown all the way across the United States to see the desert, but she's also decided that she's going to move all the way across the United States to the desert. That's huge. And it's not about Arizona, it's about being brave enough to try something outside of your comfort zone. It's about being strong enough to know that you can do anything that you want, regardless of anything that you might think is holding you back. Because really the only thing that's holding you back is your own fear and your own lack of self-confidence. That's what I've absolutely found to be true for me. If you can push past the discomfort, you can achieve anything. So we move out to Arizona, and then Jeremy decides that he wants to go and work in Los Angeles. So the kids and I are home in Arizona, and he's in Los Angeles staying with his aunt. And we decide that maybe we'll move to LA. Well, long and the short of it is it didn't work out. It was just in our best interest and in our youngest son's best interest for us to stay here in town because his mom moved out here also. And yeah, I say our youngest son and I also say his mom. So yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, our youngest is Gabriel, and his mom was selfless enough to move out here to Arizona to be with us so that Jeremy and Gabriel could stay together. And that was really, really cool. So we had an opportunity to go to a concert out in LA. I purchased the tickets whenever we were supposed to be moving out there. It was for after the predetermined moving date. Well, instead what we decided to do was we purchased Greyhound tickets because we'd never been on a Greyhound before. So we figured, it's like a 9-hour ride from where we live, and we'll just go ahead and go out there and ride the Greyhound. That way neither of us have to drive and just experience something different, again. Well, the concert that we went out there for, I went to school to, I was thinking, whenever we moved back out to Arizona, I enrolled in school again, and I started an entrepreneurial program with the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, which is in Tempe, up by Phoenix. So whenever I completed that program, I ended up with a diploma specializing in life coaching and holistic nutrition. I love it because it's given me the ability to really talk to people in a different way. I forgot to mention I became a chemical dependency counselor's assistant whenever I was in Ohio, and then I used that to move out here to Arizona and work at the ranch with the boys. Just so many opportunities. So whenever I finished going to school at Sweeha, it was all online. Whenever I was done with that, I opened my business. I opened Mama Sage, and I figured, you know what? God's gonna tell me what this is supposed to look like. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. And whatever is supposed to develop will develop, right? But all I knew was that I bought a domain name and I paid for, all the stuff to set up my website on GoDaddy, cards, and just first one thing and then another. And then, because of course you need like business licenses and your EIN number for the federal government, and you need your state tax ID, and there's just all of this different stuff that you have to compile, right? So I went through all of these steps and I put together a business, and I did it all on my own. I didn't have any company set things up for me. Like I did it all piece by piece. Contacted each individual agency that I needed to contact, made sure that everything was properly filed, that the business was registered appropriately, and all of that stuff. So once again, like I waited tables and I worked in restaurants as a cook, and I did way too many drugs and I drank way too much. And now I'm opening my own business and I live 2,000 miles away from home. Just mind-blowing. So I opened up the business and things just worked out the way that they were supposed to work out. I have these awesome friends, Carolyn and Graham Kriglow, and they own the White Raven Trading Company Curiosity Shop here in Tombstone. And they had this little spot that was available on a separate address, but on their same property. And I was able to open up this shop and start working with clients. And I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. Once again, I figured, God is going to figure this out. So I've got all these skills and all these talents, and whatever that's supposed to look like, it'll happen, right? So I started reading tarot cards because for me, that's a way to connect with the divine. That's a whole nother pot of coffee. But I started doing that, and things just began to change and develop, but things weren't really working out that great, because it's a Western town, and they're not super into you know, people reading tarot cards, I guess. But that's okay because it taught me a lot. I had this opportunity to work on growing my business, building my business. What is this supposed to look like? And I got to a point where I figured out that Mama Sage is a business that works with women who are early in recovery and who are trying to live the best life that they possibly can, you know, while navigating sobriety. So everything just changed. Everything just changed again. But it was the most beautiful thing. And I've spent the last 7 months or so building my YouTube channel. I'm in the process of putting out my first e-course, and I'm so excited about that. But I never could have done this stuff if I hadn't gotten sober. Some people might think that, you know, what I'm doing is just like anyone else. But for me to go so far outside of my comfort zone and move so far away from my family and, you know, take chances to go and travel and see things and do things and you know, enjoy these big events. I mean, there's been so many other things that I could talk about, but that's, you know, those are probably like the biggest and most impactful things that have happened in my life that I could talk about like right now in a condensed video. I can't stress enough the importance of pushing past your comfort zone and doing things that are uncomfortable, doing things that are scary, believing in yourself, believing that you're worth more, believing that you're capable of doing anything that you want to do, because you can, and the only thing that's holding you back is you. So I just want to teach people how to live a life beyond their wildest dreams the same way that I've been able to do. And I hope that maybe this gives you some inspiration to push past your fears and your insecurities and gets you to take that class that you wanted to take, or open the business that you've been thinking about, or write the book that you've been talking about. You know, recovery is such a beautiful process, and it has made me a woman who's capable of helping other people and a woman who's capable of reaching for the stars. So I'm really, really grateful for my recovery process, and I'm really grateful for you guys. I hope that this gave you some inspiration, and I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. I'm still learning. It's still a learning process, but I really appreciate you guys. And whenever I get to 100 subscribers, we'll be releasing mugshots. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah.